You see, Dibal, as I've said, any infrastructure fund must be established under Article 206 of the Constitution. That by itself creates a certain amount of governance structure for that particular fund. In fact, the Auditor General, the Controller of Budget, Parliament itself must have a role over that fund. So anybody dreaming that they will create a fund outside Article 206 is lying not just to Kenyans, but to himself or herself. There will be no fund unless you change the Constitution. What they can create without Parliament having a direct role are the subsidiary companies. You know, when you have a fund, the fund can invest as an equity partner where they can establish XY company to offer certain services or to do some infrastructure project and charge user fees. Or it can invest in a third-party company as equity investor. Or they could partner as collaborators. So those subsidiaries will be under Companies Act or whatever they'll want. But the fund where the shilling from the Kenyan taxpayer will be put in as seed money must come to Parliament. And it will have to comply with Article 10, our national values of equity, inclusivity, Article 232 and Article 201 of the Constitution. And most fundamentally, it will have to comply with OECD rules and principles on infrastructure governance. They are global frameworks. If you want, remember what I said? If you want to compete globally, you must adopt global standards. So there are already OECD frameworks on governance of sovereign funds or infrastructure funds, which you will have to comply with. Some of which are, the projects have to be long-term, there must be least cost financing, not expensive, value for money, public participation, full disclosure of data and information, all those issues have to be in the governance of those funds. So personally as an MP, I'm waiting for them to bring their proposal to Parliament. Yes, and then I will apply my mind based on what I've said here, on the Constitution, on OECD principles, on best practices from elsewhere, then we can structure the fund. But there will be no fund outside Article 206.
Article 2.
The South African Infrastructure Fund is established by a memorandum of understanding. It's not anchored on an act of Parliament. It is by a memorandum of understanding between the National Treasury, Ministry of Public Works, and DBSA, where the Minister for Finance makes an allocation to Development Bank of South Africa to ring fence as an infrastructure fund, which then they use to leverage. And you are right, it is not anchored in law. The one of Saudi Arabia is under a royal decree. It is in law. The one in India is in law. Now, the distinction I wanted to explain, there's a distinction between having a fund and government-owned enterprises. There are many government entities that are in business that are incorporated under the Companies Act. You remember we used to have the old State Corporations Act. A state corporation could be a company registered under the Companies Act in which the government has majority shares. It could be an entity established in the old order, even by an executive gazette notice. It could have been established by an act of Parliament. So if you check Kenya Pipeline and National Oil Corporation are actually established under the Companies Act. KCB was established under the Central Bank Act. They were not by acts of Parliament. But so there's that distinction. But when you are talking of a fund, if it is a fund can only be established by an act of Parliament under Article 206 of the Constitution of Kenya. There is no shortcut to that. Because if you read that article, it says there shall be a consolidated fund into which all revenues of government, from whatever source, shall be deposited, except those that are deposited in a special fund established by an act of Parliament or appropriation in aid, which are then retained by state organs for purposes of their operation.